We are live in five, four, three, two,
And we back.
and we back, and we back, and we back, and we back, and we back. Yeah! And we back. Thinking Out Loud Podcast, TOLPcast.com. You already know what this is. You already know who I am. It's your boy Jay Lip in the building representing Columbus, Ohio. And of course, it is ladies' night. Clap it up for the two beautiful ladies I have with me. First and foremost, our guest, Queen Ash. Ash, how you feeling tonight? Blessed and highly favored, I assume.
Yes, I'm feeling so happy that Tony's on with me.
Okay, all right. Mrs.LIP, that was your introduction. Mrs.LIP, how you feeling tonight?
You know what? Good. I'm really looking forward to tonight.
Okay, well, that's a good thing. Well, I'm not because I'm representing the fellas by myself on this ladies' night. So let's get straight into the shits as we do. And again, appreciate everybody on the live, on the replay, on the Soundcloud, on the iTunes, on the Google Play. Everything I do, everything and everywhere that we are, we appreciate you. So let's jump into it. The pink tax seems like a fitting topic for these two beautiful women that we have on the panel tonight. Now, I want to approach this very delicately before I get aggressively frustrated with what I anticipate to be a bunch of information that I'm gonna have to defend and say why
Here
it's
we go.
false. So,
All right,
pink
I'm ready.
tax. I'm on Facebook. Shout out to everybody that has seen the post. Holla at your boy. I'm asking a genuine question. Is there such thing as a pink tax? And what happens? I get flooded with the responses left and right about, of course, there's a pink tax. I get the links to the pink tax. I get the articles to the pink tax.
Yes.
But for those that didn't see that and aren't on basically on the same tip as I am as far as the new knowledge that I now have, help the folks listening understand what is the pink tax. And since you were the one that pop off the topic, Ash, I'm gonna point to you on this one.
So the pink tax basically is women being charged more than men for items for the same items.
Okay.
So if you had a blue razor and a pink razor, the pink razor could be $1 more, which in most oftentimes it is, than the blue razor, even though it has the same number of blades made of the same materials. And just overall, in general, women are paying more for items that guys are buying too.
Okay, so the pink tax is a actual reference to a financial or monetary increase to what? Penalize a female for purchasing female advertised or marketed towards products?
I don't even think it's necessarily to penalize, but more so to capitalize
Right.
because, of course, there are, blue versions of pretty much everything that we purchase, but the products that are marketed towards us, we're more likely to buy. So if you charge more for them, I'm not necessarily going into a store and comparing pink and blue razors. I'm comparing two pink razors and trying to get the best price. So it's a level of consciousness that I'm not even aware of as a woman that just by the sheer fact that I am a woman, I'm paying more for products that are marketed towards me. And this is like across the board.
Yeah, it's like the sneaky pinky tax.
Mm-hmm. Super sneaky.
Sneaky pinky tax. Explain that. You mean that it's covert?
Absolutely. I mean, just as what Mrs. Lip said, you don't. I'm not going in to buy a blue razor necessarily. I like pink, so I'm going to buy a pink razor. And these marketers and advertisers and psychologists, they all know that. So that's what they market to us. And ladies, if you go to axe, that's pinktax.com, you can type in your age and it'll calculate as how much you've paid in pink tax since birth because it happened since birth. And for me, it's been $42,000.
Oh, damn. All right.
$42,000.
So from this website, $42,000 is what is basically the estimate on average of what a woman spends based off of the age of the person, and they're extrapolating that over the course of how many or however many products there are that you would need to have to basically be are these like, again, you talked about razors, but like what are some other examples of items that are pink taxed?
So I was doing some research just to make sure I had a whole list. And I'm not going to go down the whole list because we will be here literally all day. But like you said, Ashley, I
I
mean, this all
clapped for
starts
that
at
too, by the
birth.
way. I appreciate you not going through the whole damn
I'm not
list.
gonna go through the whole
Thank
list.
you. Appreciate you.
But like starting at birth, one of the top categories in which the pink tax is visible is in toys. So everything from dolls to bike helmets to scooters to, I mean, bottles, baby bottles, even between blue and pink bottles, between products at Target that are marketed towards girl babies as opposed to boy babies. And then as you get older, it's things like dry cleaning, or maybe you call and get an estimate about a car repair, or you're buying a used vehicle. I mean, it's not even just products, it's services as well. When they hear a
Yeah.
female voice asking for a service, more often than not, quote you higher than a man who's asking for the same exact service. So this happens, throughout our entire lives. And many of us may not even be aware of it.
Okay, so I can tell you as a man, I wasn't aware. Ashley, I assume you concur with that.
Yeah, and I want an apology from you and all your bros out.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I'm not gonna call any specific names. You all know who you are. But
Who? Let's call him out. Let's think it out loud. Let's think it out, motherfucking loud.
well, Levi
Okay,
said
get him, Levi,
Uh-oh.
he
my
said
dog.
I was crazy and that it's some extreme feminism, and I just wanted to clarify that it's not about extreme feminism. It's real. And shout out to New York City that did a study on the pink tax and saw over 800 products that were unequally charged. And I just think it's this type of response from guys that we get all the time. It's like, oh, you're crazy. That doesn't make any sense. You're being a feminist as if feminist is a bad thing.
We gonna
Yeah,
get
so
to that.
it's
We gonna
like
get to that.
I need that apology ASAP.
All right,
I'm
so
just kidding.
the homie, that's my bro, that's my brother Levi. I know he gonna hear this. Levi, Ashley has given you a direct request to apologize. I want everybody listening right now, go to facebook.com/Levi and figure out the rest if you can, and just put a bunch of hashtag apologize. Let them know that this movement is real and that these women deserve respect for all of the inequalities that are being done to them with this pink tax. Now we're gonna get to
You
this.
need my check. I need my $42,000.
Ashley is reclaiming her time that she spent arguing with your ass about this topic. So, Mrs. Lip, as far as this feminist topic is concerned, because I also want to kind of delve into that a little bit, there is a stigma behind someone who is a quote unquote extreme feminist. And I say quote unquote because I think that the definition of a feminist, it varies depending on whose perspective you're getting that opinion from. And there's a certain, I would say, negative connotation when you add extreme to it.
Yeah.
Ashley, Queen Ash, has been referred to on social media as an extreme feminist because of her views. Now,
I
with that he said, I don't care. So, what is it about being called a feminist that concerns women from you guys' perspective when people take disdain with it, when people are bothered by that representation? Because I could say that playing, I don't like devil's advocate, but playing on the perspective of an opposite end of this spectrum, that the things that are marketed towards a female or a woman, they may be marketed at a higher price because women may be willing to pay the higher price. Maybe there's some type of marketing and advertising research that suggests that you could charge. From one of the examples I saw was children's book bags. The blue book bag was on sale for $3 for geared to boys, I'm assuming. The pink book bag was on sale for $9. Both originally priced $19.99. But who's to say, or how do we know that it's the intent was based off of gender as far as the discriminative act, and not so much as a ploy to gain more revenue because a female or a young lady may have a more expensive bag, may be more willing to purchase that than a boy or a young man would.
Okay, question. So anybody who's out there buying $3 and $5 backpacks are probably not buying them for themselves.
Okay, it was
These are
$3 and $9. I
children.
said $9. I just want to.
Whatever.
I
They're,
reclaim
these
my
are
time.
children, and these are school-age children with backpacks being purchased by their parents. So
Correct.
the fact that those backpacks are two different prices has nothing to do with whether or not that child can afford to buy a more expensive
I
backpack.
got a quick thing to say. Shout out to my other bro, Kobe Glenn. KG said maybe pink dye costs more. Y'all ever think about that? Hmm?
Oh God, you sound like Old Navy and Gap and Target and Amazon and everybody else who tries to justify the fact that their materials and time to make female products cost more.
Now, even though
There may be now I'm not gonna say that there is no discrepancy between the two, but it is very hard for me to reconcile the fact that, as Ashley said, at our age, we paid an extra 40 plus $1,000 for pink dye in our products.
okay,
That
so
does not compute.
so that was one example. I also want to give credit. KG did follow by saying he was playing, but I
Oh,
agree. Okay, I tried to
I
throw
don't
him
think
some
you
bail.
got
I
into
tried to
doing
throw
that.
him some bail, and we always show love to the comments. So I want to throw him some bail and let him know that we know we defended him, but you was cooking. I had to let you cook up. But I actually think that's a valid point. What if pink dye is more expensive than blue dye? What if, again, address my concern or my argument about the fact that what if it is a marketing ploy? You market,
It
let's say for
is. We're not
instance,
arguing that it's not a marketing play. It absolutely is. And that's how they made thousands and thousands of extra dollars off of us.
so
It's a marketing play for you to make blue and pink razors as opposed to just black razors and that they're for everyone.
okay, so let me
It's
ask.
clearly a marketing ploy.
Okay, so
So this is the thing, right? I aligned it with slavery, and everybody's gonna go off and say that's
oh
crazy.
shit.
But getting money from black slaves, Africans, their labor, that was marketing too. That's capitalism. People made money. If we made all of our decisions based off of money and how much money we're going to make without calculating human rights or gender equality, that's a problem. So
You
we
lost
need to.
you lost me with the reference to slavery. Help me understand.
So if I was a slave owner or slave master, and I said, well, if I had paid a white man to do pick this cotton versus a black man, this is a business decision. Just like charging more for pink razors is a business decision. If we base everything off of business decisions and capitalism, what would the world be?
We'd be right where we are right now. That's the way that
Exactly, and
society
that's a
works.
problem.
I mean, I
That's
think at the end
not
at the
how it works.
hold on. That's the way that America works, though. It's a capitalistic society from a
Right, but that's
fiscal.
a problem. That's a problem. Would
What
you agree or no?
if you were a business owner though? And I also want to shout out KG again. He knows and is aware that Mrs. Lip has her own business. She does TL Yarn Crafts. Holla at tlyarncrafts.com. He asks, "Do you charge more for your yarn crafts if they're pink?"
No.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. So you
And
don't.
I also don't charge more for patterns for female products versus male products. I don't charge more to people when they come to my craft shows if they're a man or a woman. The prices are what they are. I don't charge any extra, have any kind of discrimination between male and female products within my business.
All right, so you don't.
absolutely.
Okay, so sorry, we thought we had lost you for a second. Ash. We thought you got so
Sorry, I had to
pissed
get
at
my
the.
charger. So
No,
sorry.
we know how you get about this. You get fired up. You had to take a minute, smoke real quick. Had to hit that black and mild. But regardless, now that we back to business, so you don't charge different. And then he also asked, does pink yarn cost more?
No, no, it
Okay,
doesn't.
so in your industry, there's no discernment between the cost of materials, but I think it's still safe to say, from a business perspective, let's take it to fashion. We know by and large that the more something costs, the more perceived the value of that said product is.
Perceived.
So it's
Perceived.
perceived, right? So for the customer base that's looking at something like, let's take y'all shoes for instance. You know, red bottoms, Louboutin, I can't pronounce half the shit right, and y'all get these type of products, or y'all have a certain reverence for them with a higher level of value that may not be any different than another non-name brand shoe, but you have a higher value of that because it costs more. Could it be a marketing or an advertising ploy to put a higher price on things that are for women who are more attracted to those purchases? Because I don't think that it's fair to ignore the. It's
Oh,
not fair to ignore the fact
that's a
that.
luxury tax, not
But
a pink tax. There's a
okay,
Right.
difference.
oh,
That's not the
and so
same.
what type of
Because I
tax?
can still go
Hold
buy
on one
shoes
second.
from
What type of tax
Payless.
you said it was?
Luxury.
Okay, so
Right.
luxury is a luxury tax. My concern though is when we had this conversation, we can't ignore the fact that statistically women do make more purchases when it comes to fashion and apparel. This is a fact that I hope we can agree on.
Yeah, but that's not the point that we're
I
making. The
know
point,
Right.
y'all's.
That's
I'm just trying to
apples and
set a
oranges. That's
baseline.
not even the same argument.
But
right,
That's
is at
not even the
all.
same
but here's my
argument.
point though. If we make a baseline and we say that women are willing to pay more for products by and large than men are, then by that definition it would make sense as a company to upcharge the female.
I don't think so. Nobody said that. Nobody
I
said
did.
women want to pay
I
more.
didn't say that they
Okay,
want to. I said willing to. And if I'm a company and I'm advertising, I'm trying to challenge the theology of a pink tax as opposed to it being something that is not, to your point, punitive towards women, but it's just a business decision to
Right, a business
maximize
decision.
revenue. Maximize revenue.
But wait a minute,
yeah,
have you heard of corporate social responsibility? It's the business's best interest for the consumer to be socially responsible. And that's not being that's like me charging more to a disabled person who needs a wheelchair.
right.
You know what I mean? Like I would never do that. And I hope no businesses do, but of course we know that they do. But that's the discrepancy that we're talking about. These people are at a disadvantage.
Okay.
Women are at a disadvantage. They are paid much less more. If you're a black woman, you're paid what, 63 cents on a dollar? That's crazy. So
Okay.
charge us more.
Okay. So I understand what you're saying. Wage inequality mixed with this quote unquote pink tax
You
It's
know,
is.
not
quote.
quote
I,
unquote.
I'm.
I feel like you're minimizing by saying quote unquote. It exists. It is a real
I
thing.
say
You
quote
can't say you don't
unquote.
believe in it. It is legit. It's
Look,
real.
look. At the end of the day, the quote unquote is to be mindful of the fact that this is a theory. This is not anything that's
It's not a
documented.
It's
theory. Oh my gosh,
proven.
study after study,
Dog.
universities, Forbes, businesses have done research on this. You can go on Amazon right now and look at a blue razor with 5 blades and a pink razor with 5 blades. And there's like a $2 difference between them. This is
Question.
not some theory. We're not like crazy out here, like, oh, Target is charging us more. Like, no,
Nobody
it's
said.
real.
Nobody
It's
said either
real.
one of you intelligent bastions of knowledge are crazy. I ain't gonna let
The
you put that
concern
on
is
me.
that you continue to suggest that it's perceived. It is not
Right.
perceived. There
Thank
have been
you.
studies on this topic. It is real. It is proven. There is no need for quotes because this is a real thing. It's not
It's
Okay,
perceived.
let me make one. Let me make
absolutely.
one.
Hold on, one more. Let me make one more point to highlight what the Mrs. said. That's the equivalent of racist that say, "Oh, black people aren't treated different. There's no white privilege. You guys are just crazy." It's
Thank
the
you.
equivalent.
Thank you.
All
It's the
right,
same. It is the
Period.
I
same.
got my head in
It
my hand.
exists.
Y'all know y'all can't see. I got my head in my hands because I gotta just say I'm not going to correlate this pink tax with the quote unquote black tax. I'm just saying these quote
You're
unquote.
not gonna because you're not the one in the minority
But I'm
here.
also
Because we're
here
not
to
talking
facilitate
about
the
race
conversation.
specifically. So
Right.
when we have two topics that are directly correlated between race and gender, you're in the majority. You're not the one who has
Yep.
to worry about this, research this, understand this. So you're not gonna you're gonna say, well, I'm not gonna get into that part of it because
No,
you
no,
That's
no,
don't
no.
have
exactly
to.
what the race.
That is your male privilege in bright, shiny neon
Wow.
letters. It is
Brings
Wow.
me
happening
back to
right now.
Male
another
privilege. You know
thing.
what?
It is.
Before we get into that, I want to shout out again another comment. KG said, "Y'all don't need that pink razor. You can use the same razor I use,
We
but
know.
I know
We
you
know.
will pay more, so I'm going to get that bag." That's what I was saying. He's going to get that bag if he's selling a blue one and a pink one and upcharges on the pink one, but because you prefer the pink one, you pay for it and then complain about it being more
It's not that
expensive.
we
So
prefer the
you're
pink one.
prying
That's the
on
one
women.
that's marketed to us. That's the
Prying,
Yeah.
one
prying.
societally that we're told to take. And that's why there are brandless and genderless companies popping up left and right, shave clubs and home goods products that are popping up that are genderless because they know that this stuff exists.
So let me
And
ask you.
they're not as a
Shout
company
out to them.
choosing to pander to the popular marketing strategies to make women pay more because they know and they think that's wrong.
I want to address something that Ash just said. Ash, you said is prying on women. So is Nike brand and Jordan brand prying on young youth? The same word. My fault. Is Nike brand preying on individuals who will pay $220 for some sneakers that have the Jumpman logo on them?
You're saying individuals, right?
No,
So black,
I'm looking
white.
at the term prying because that concerns me from a business perspective. Isn't any effort that a business makes to sell a piece of apparel or a component, anything that they sell, they're trying to maximize their potential revenue. But you translate that as prying because they found a market where they can make more money off of the perception, off of the desire. A pink razor is more attractive to you, correct? That's what you like, right?
No,
Actually, I
not
can go pull my
necessarily.
razor right now.
Don't
It's
put.
like
Whoa, we ain't gotta get violent. She just talking about pulling the razor on your boy. She go.
it's a sea green. It doesn't matter. That means that it's still a woman's razor.
I want to
They
make
sell blue razors, but it's still a woman's razor. Women's
what
razor,
defines it as what defines it as woman's.
right? Just the way it's like
The way it's marketed to us.
smooth blades.
Oh, Ash, your counterpart here just said it's the way it's marketed that makes it women's.
Yes. Listen,
Yeah,
we're
marketing
not
isn't just color.
disputing.
It could be brand words. It could be brand. It could be style.
So yet
Right.
again,
It
the
could be the
company is.
buzzwords that they use in their commercials to appeal to women as opposed to men. It could be the use of female models in a razor commercial as opposed to men. All of that. We're not disputing that it's not a marketing tactic. We're saying surely it is a marketing
So you're
tactic.
saying
That's
it's a
all it
marketing
is, because
tactic,
it's
but
the
it's
same
wrong.
product in a different
Right.
color.
You're
It's
saying it's a
wrong.
marketing tactic, but it's wrong. Shout out KG
Absolutely.
said again, repeating that y'all don't have to buy the pink one if you don't want to
No.
pay for the pink
That's
one.
just one product.
It's a choice.
KG, we can pull a whole list for you. 800 products, 800 and services.
But I will
Yeah.
say again from the commentary, the feedback is it's your fault if you buy into that marketing plan.
Okay, so
Because all
here's
you
the
do is
deal. This
encourage it.
is this is what makes this issue so difficult is it takes a woman to be educated about this even
Yep.
existing, to be able to do her own research and walk into a grocery store or to Walmart or Meyer and be like, wow, the prices of these razors, which probably aren't even next to each other, are different prices. Like,
Hmm.
it takes us being educated about a pink tax, which many people might not even know the term, to be able to say, okay, now I'm going to approach purchasing products
Consciously.
for my home
Right.
differently. So if you're a woman who is just engaging in media like anybody else, and you get a commercial for a Venus razor as opposed to a Gillette pop up on your social media, you're more likely to buy that razor that's marketed to you as a woman. Period. It takes a level of education and of awareness that a lot of us might not have yet. So
But to
yes, it is a choice, but it takes you being aware of that choice first.
but to KG's point though, it's still the choices with the buyer. You are the consumer.
Jesus.
What do you mean, Jesus? I mean, he's with
I
us at
already
all
said
times.
yes. I know, but it is dependent on the awareness of this issue even existing. Yes, I agree. I can, as a woman, go buy a blue razor. Nobody's standing in front of the blue razor saying, no, you can't have any. But it takes me being aware that that blue razor is fundamentally cheaper than my pink razor for me to make that choice.
So now, are
Right.
you bridging the gap to say that now there's an additional pink tax on knowledge because a woman has to go out and research and have the awareness of how to make these conscious choices?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Whenever there's a disparity between two groups, it
Mhm.
takes somebody looking into that disparity to make any kind of change.
Yep.
All right. Well, KG is suggesting if any of y'all watch any of them social raggedy ass reality shows like Basketball Husbands of Hollywood's Wives or none of that, then that should be the time you taking to do your research and understand that the blue razor
Right.
cuts you just as smooth as a pink razor. Don't give in to the hype. No one watches you rocking your pink razor. It's not something that is out for display. It's a personal hygiene tool. So the color shouldn't matter. And if you could get it for cheap, get it for cheap. Then this is a non-issue.
No.
It's not a non-issue. And the biggest issue is not the price. It's the minimizing. It's the diminishing. It's the dismissiveness. That's the problem. And I think as men and as men with privilege, you guys should be a little bit more understanding and willing to close the gaps. I think that's what
What can
I
we do? Let's be personal for the people. What can myself do to help with this what do you want to call this struggle, what is this that's happening? What is this?
That's what I call it.
Is what?
Disrespect.
The
It is.
disrespect. How can we help disrespect you more? How can we reduce the disrespect that you feel when you feel like you're being taxed more than you should be based off of your gender interests? You see how long-winded that statement was? When it
It
takes more
doesn't have
time,
to be.
when it takes
It's
more
just
time
how
to
can we
say it,
advocate on your behalf when it comes to the pink tax? That's the question.
my
It doesn't have to
avocation
be
as
that hard.
KG, myself and others that I'm familiar with, our avocation for y'all is encouraging you to just get the blue one because then ultimately no one will buy the pink one and they'll have to market them competitively.
Okay.
I mean, goddamn,
So
I gotta throw a bomb on that for myself. 'Cause that was a good ass point. If no one
yeah.
buys the pink ones that are overpriced, book bag, razors, drawers, that's a bad example. Niggas shouldn't be wearing pink drawers. But if that's your thing, whatever it is that's pink and overpriced versus blue and on sale, if we don't encourage the purchases, then ultimately the company is not going to have an incentive to upcharge and then an equilibrium will occur naturally through the capitalist mentality of the
That does
market.
not solve the issue because it's not just razors that are the problem. You don't want your daughter necessarily riding around in a blue helmet on a blue scooter with boys' jeans and
Why
boys' shirts and
not?
boys' book bags on.
Why
You
not?
don't necessarily. You why not? Are you kidding me?
I'm asking you the question because we're supposed to be in a society right now where we're all about equality between the genders, respecting people as individuals. So you're defining clothing and a helmet on a bicycle as a boys. So you're projecting in
All
that
these
state.
things
Hold on
are
one second.
genderless.
Hold on one
I'm
second.
not living in some
Yes, you are.
colorblind
But
society
in but
because that is not how our world
I'm
works.
not saying that you're living in that. What I'm saying is the way that the society is moving towards more acceptance and equality and respect for individuals, not just as a woman or as a man. If we're trying to maintain that as the baseline for how we want to move forward as a culture, then you jumping out and saying that you don't want to see your daughter wearing a boy's helmet because it's blue or a boy's bike because it's blue.
No, that's not what she's saying.
So explain that.
What she's saying is, so what she's saying is when you there's a choice, right? If I was a woman or a girl, I'm naturally going to want to see the pink bike because I'm wired that way. And that
Oh, so it's a
psychologists
social
know this.
construct.
Hold on. Psychologists know this. There are certain things that women prefer. That's why they cater. Where do you think the color pink came from? Obviously, it's some brain chemistry
It
thing.
came
But
from a palette.
anyway,
It came from a palette. I mean, it came from a color palette.
yeah, it came from a color palette, but why is it marketed to women? There are some very scientific, specific things that happen in marketing and psychology or in advertising. Psychologists will tell you that. The point is that if I have a daughter, because I mean I'm a girl, a lady, I naturally, oh, I like the frills, I like flowers, I like these are things that I just naturally like. So if my daughter wanted blue and all that, that's fine. I don't have any problems with that. But in a majority, in a natural sense, most women are attracted to those things. So it's like, why would you create marketing upcharge? Like it's just wrong.
Ash-
It's just wrong.
Ashley, I'm not saying that you're wrong,
I guess
but
the
what I
issue is, I
hold on
guess
real
the
quick, hold
issue
on real
is,
quick, right?
regardless of whatever choice that I make, they should be the same price.
Right. That's
Okay,
the point.
Whether I'm a girl and I want the pink thing, or I'm a girl and I want the blue thing, and vice versa, it should be the same price. It's the same product. It should be the same price, unless you can truly justify to me that the
Right.
pink dye is 20% more expensive. Then you have a social issue on your hands because you as a
no.
company are making a choice to charge more for the same product for
No,
girls.
I
Period.
disagree because there are cars that are unisex, meaning men and women both drive the cars, but cars under a certain color palette are charged or upcharged because it's a more favorable color, and people may be willing to pay more for said color. Now,
Right.
that's
And that's a personal choice. That's
right, but
that's
but
that's
so is the
genderless.
rate.
So we're talking about the difference
No,
between gendered
no,
products.
listen,
Right.
listen. What I'm
Right.
saying is,
Gendered product.
listen,
Gendered
if a
You
products,
get
red,
do you get
not
the
luxury
difference?
products.
Hold on
I
one
could
second.
go buy Louboutins, but I choose to buy Nikes.
Hold
Or
on one.
I could go buy an expensive bag, but maybe I'm just gonna go get something from Meyer instead. They're
Right.
still purses.
I
So that
understand.
difference is a personal preference. I'm saying for the same products, we're talking about things like razors and book
But
bags,
I
and
just
you're
told
talking
you.
about cars and shoes.
No. But what I just told you was there are upcharges for different colors of cars. So if it's a preference of somebody seeing the red car that might be a G more than the gray or the black car, that's a person's choice to
We're
purchase that.
not talking about the same things.
I'm
Those
Right.
are
It's
talking.
not
not
the
the
We're
same.
talking
same.
about. But
With,
what I'm
it's
trying to
not,
what I'm trying to bridge the gap to is ultimately these are all products. A razor is a razor is a razor. It cuts hair. What we're talking about is a car is a car is a car. It gets you from point A to point B. The color doesn't change the fuel efficiency or the performance of the vehicle. And quite honestly, the color handle of a razor doesn't change the performance of the skin texture that you have. So I get back to the original point that I was trying to make is it doesn't have to be so specific as being this is something that's wrong because a business has found an opportunity to tap into a market where people are willing to pay more. Because what I haven't heard refuted is what happens if you just choose not to. And when talking about even the bike helmet, KG said, yeah, if I do have a daughter, I don't want any boys looking at her, so her helmet is going to be matte black and tactical as fuck. Now, he is joking with that, but I had to shout that statement out because
that is
black's
cool.
a neutral color. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, if it was just black razors across the board, we wouldn't even have this conversation about razors and it'd be
True.
something else.
That's why
Because
there are genderless product companies putting
and
out things like razors.
that's the problem, and that's the thing that I want to have as my final point regarding the conversation, especially with what you said, Ash, where you mentioned the social engineering that we bring our children up gender wise to see certain things as favorable versus non-favorable. If you were to do
No.
no, just here's my point. You had mentioned, you said the way that people are brought up and you have attraction to certain things by how you're brought up, and then you
I didn't
mentioned.
say by brought up. That's socialization. I said naturalization.
Okay,
So
but
natural.
so I believe that if you, or let me ask you, do you believe if you put a baby that's a girl and a baby that's a boy in a room and you put two sets of clothes out, one that's blue and one that's pink, that they're both going to gravitate to the gender predetermined color that they are supposed to be developed into? Or are they just going to pick whatever's closest to them from survival's perspective?
So yeah, of course. So we're about to get into a socialization conversation. From a survival perspective, potentially, but you could have a baby that chooses pink because that's what she likes,
Or what
and
he
what I'm
likes?
saying, or what he likes, which is that's your thing. That's fine. What I'm saying
I ain't
is
going to say it's a good thing,
naturally,
but go ahead.
in majority, more women majority from a majority standpoint likes pink and frills and lace and all this other stuff.
But who teaches a baby to like frills and lace and all these things that are going to be upcharged? Who teaches that? Society, family, TV, media? Like,
I
it's
don't
not.
know. I don't know if that's the case. So I think it all started from what scientists started, meaning psychologists started studying babies and saying, oh, they gravitate towards this, or this gender gravitates towards this. Now let's start making, pink the girl color. I don't think it was reverse.
Okay. I
Study
don't.
and marketing, I believe that's the way it was.
Without having an expert to represent my position on this, I'm going to have to concede and trust and believe in the opinions shared here do not reflect those of J-Lip and the TOL podcast as a company, organization, and dynasty. However, our guest opinions are very much respected. I want to close it out and give y'all the final thought. We had some other things to get into, but Ash, you know what this means. You got to come back next week so we can get into this whole Kanye, Amber Rose, and all the other philanderous activities that we have to address. But in the meantime, for right here and right now, what are your final words for the people regarding your false belief in the pink text? Go ahead.
See, that's where we start. So this is the thing, right? I just want people to realize that women aren't always crazy and that there are some valid points being made about gender inequalities that have some tremendous financial impact. $42,000 for a 31-year-old, that's a lot of money. So when we look at how women are treated naturally, how they don't make as much money as men, and but they're charged more. Like there's some social responsibility that our government, with regulation and policies, but also our businesses have to make sure that women are treated fairly. This is not some extreme feminism, but it's something that everybody should pay attention to. That's it.
Okay, very well said. I let you cook. Tony, go ahead, put the pot on the oven. What's going on? Final thought.
I guess I'll just to piggyback off of everything Ash said already.
Oh, shit.
My only request and suggestion is for men to just take a minute to research, and that's really all the time it takes.
Not
Just
to interrupt,
search-
not to interrupt, but to say,
But to
KG
interrupt.
did say that. I did interrupt, and you're right. KG said, I'm looking at bike helmets on Amazon, same style, same company. These shits is the same price, black versus pink.
Oh
So,
my god.
so he took
Okay.
your advice before
What's
he
your-
even said it. He
Hey,
did the
give me
research.
your email so I can send you some links.
No,
please.
just send it. Just send it under the comments of the video, so everybody can see the link, so everybody can have a judgment on their own. Thank you for your final point.
I
Thank
just
You
you.
didn't finish it.
I didn't
Okay,
even-
you're right. My fault. Finish it.
All I'm saying is do your due diligence to do your research, and not just to prove the point that you feel like you already need to make, but to also completely research the topic and have an open mind about what you may find. That's all that I will ask.
I appreciate that jab and that shade that was thrown at me and KG. KG, I see you, boy. You're here in spirit. This is Think It Out Loud, TOL podcast. Catch us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, Facebook Live. We here and we everywhere. Thanks, Ash, representing DC.
Hashtag pink tap.
All right, and thank you, Mrs.LIP, for joining.
Anytime.
And we out.
Bye.
So,
Ugh,
I
I'm
think
gonna come bop you over the head
I think
right
I won.
now.
I think I won this
So
one.
upset.
Yes.
I think I won this one.
You
Now I'm only about 3 stories away from Tony, so I need to run real quick. All right, I'll holler at you, Ash.
All right, see
Peace.
y'all.
Bye, Ash. See you.
Bye.